Your Misinformation is part of the Demcast family of podcasts. What's up, everybody? I'm Katie.
And I'm Morgan.
And this is For Your Misinformation, a podcast dedicated to empowering women to be more politically engaged so we can act in our own best interests.
Let us break down the problem and tell you what we're doing and what you can do to help solve it.
Hey everybody, I am really excited to try something new. So if you are in the Chicagoland area, we don't have a Senate race to support this November. And this episode is all about electing Sara Gideon and getting Susan Collins out of office. So I want to try something new and fun. I've been propagating some plants here at home, a couple different varieties of pothos. And if you volunteer with Mary or Max and you prove it to me, either by emailing it to fymipod@gmail.com or messaging me proof on Instagram or Twitter or wherever, you will be entered into a raffle to win one of 5 propagated plants of mine, and they are some of my favorites. There's a golden pothos and your regular run-of-the-mill green pothos, and then there's another variegated variety. Honestly, I will even drop them off if you can't come do a contactless delivery. So, and I say the more shifts you do, the more entries you get. So again, if you are in the Chicagoland area and you sign up for a shift with Max or Mary this week, that enters you in a chance to win one of these plants. So the link to fill out the volunteer form is in the bio of this episode, and it is also the top 2 links in our link tree. So check that out, volunteer, get involved. This episode is short so that you can get to work volunteering to flip the Senate and elect Sara Gideon. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I really loved talking to Max and Mary, and be sure to get involved. I personally signed up to phone bank from 12:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. Central Time on Thursday. So if you want to join me, you can do that. Otherwise, there are tons of other opportunities. So it doesn't matter what you do, just make sure you are doing something. Hi, Morgan.
Hi, Katie.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited too. We have with us 2 guests who are both organizers from Maine with Planned Parenthood votes. We have Mary and Max with us today. Hi, guys. How are you doing?
Hello. We're great. Or I'm great. I can't speak for Max.
I'm doing well. I'm always doing well.
Good. I'm glad. Well, when we have interviews, we usually start off asking how we met, which is a kind of a, when there's a pandemic, there's not a lot of like great how did we meet stories because the answer is like online. But do you want to share, Mary, how we like came across each other?
Yeah, you're right. It's not like a meet cute.
Yeah.
I wish it was. But no, I literally typed in Sara Gideon to my Google podcast search, and y'all came up, and I listened to your episode and I loved it.
Thank you.
And then I was sold when it said, you said at the end, thanks to Georgia and Karen.
Yeah.
That was a big deal for me. So
Good.
I had to reach out.
Yeah. So that's awesome. I'm so glad. I'm glad that people are finding us that way. You reached out with like the perfect opportunity. So we've been writing letters for a long time. We just started text banking, and we are hoping to get into phone banking, but both of us are kind of big babies about it. So, but it was perfect that you reached out with like a personal challenge kind of. So like, yes, we'd like you to tell us all about it and how we can help and what's going on. Okay, can we start with like how you guys got involved with Planned Parenthood votes?
Yeah, Max, do you want to go first?
Sure. So I've been community organizer and political consultant for a long time. I've been doing it since I was in college, when a friend of mine ran for city council in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and he became the first student elected to city council in 20 plus years. And ever since then, I've been really passionate about community organizing and bringing people together to solve intractable problems. Presently, I serve as the director of campaigns and advocacy at a New York City political consulting firm. And New York City is very democratic, and the Democratic primary is the general election here. And I was like, I need to do something, and reached out to everyone I know. And here I am with Mary with Planned Parenthood Votes, trying to elect Sara Gideon.
Yeah, awesome.
And I have a pretty much opposite story. I was approached by my friend who is one of the lead organizers on this specific campaign for Planned Parenthood Votes. And at the time, I'm a full-time musician most years, except for this one, if you can imagine. Usually I'm touring all the time, so there's not really time for anything else. But this year I've been kind of just doing odd jobs and figuring out what my life is about. And this year was a big deal for a lot of people, waking up to a lot of scary realities. So I was just approached for it, and I immediately was excited because I was a Planned Parenthood patient, and I am a doula in training.
Oh, cool.
So it matters a lot to me. Wow. All this stuff really matters to me in a way that's not as political until now. And now I understand why it's all connected. But yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's very cool. We started this podcast because we couldn't not do something. So hoping to connect people with resources and other people. So that's awesome. Well, so next week, do you guys have a week of action set up, right? Or actually, I should say this week, because when people are listening to this, it'll be this week. So you guys have a week of action going on right now, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us what you guys have set up for that and how we might be able to get involved?
We love telling people what to do, so this is the very exciting
but
part.
Only if we're doing it too.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
lead from the front.
I think people definitely know that about us.
I hope, yes.
Well, so Week of Action is exciting because it's we're basically getting folks and volunteering and voters pumped because a lot of people don't realize that the election's coming up in 50 days. And that's not a lot of time. We're trying to reframe the idea of election day to just be more of when you can vote, that's when you vote. And then November 3rd is the last day to vote, as opposed to November 3rd is election day. That was always kind of the idea, but in order to encourage early voting and make sure people get their votes out there, we're just encouraging folks to vote as early as possible through mail-in ballots and absentee and all that. So the Week of Action is just kind of here we are, world, vote for Sara Gideon, and this is why, and we're trying to gather as many volunteers as possible on that Week of Action, shifting them into different events throughout the week so that we can, be as successful as possible when election day is actually there and it's not last minute.
Yeah.
And we have a ton of really, really fun events as well. I can share some of mine.
Yeah, I'd love to.
That might be helpful for some context.
Sure.
Yeah, so about once a week we do an event called Democracy in Jeopardy, where it's a trivia night, but it's fun trivia. So an example of rounds, you have to tell the difference between whether something is a bomb or an Adam Sandler movie title.
Oh, no.
Surprisingly difficult.
Yeah.
Then the 16th is my birthday, and we have my birthday phone bank. And
the 16th is my boyfriend's birthday.
Wow, that's so exciting. Happy birthday, boyfriend.
It's my best friend's birthday, so boom, there's one too.
So many reasons to phone bank that day.
Yeah.
I feel so left out. I don't know anyone whose birthday is that day, except for one person I went to high school with.
Well, that's somebody.
And for each threshold you hit, there's a prize. So if we make 1,500 calls, I'll release the essay I wrote about going on Tinder dates when I was in college. And if we make 5,000 calls, I'll release the rap album I made when I was 17 years old. And if we
Oh my
make
gosh.
100,000 calls, we make 100,000 calls, I'll assume Sara Gideon's role as the Democratic nominee for Senate in Maine. So
Okay.
big stakes. We probably don't want that one. That
Which
one's probably
ones-
a net negative.
Which ones are achievable? Probably not the top tier, right? But maybe.
Anything's achievable if you believe and you put your mind to it. It's just a matter of perspective.
Okay. I'm gonna shoot for the second tier, which is rap album. Is that right? Or
there are a lot of in between tiers as well. I'll lead a
okay.
Zumba class is one of the middle tiers as well.
What
I
is
love Zumba. I'll lead a Zumba class.
Oh, wow. These are great. These are excellent.
Yeah, I know you got to get people engaged. I'm having
Max
open
is
mic.
so good. Oh my god.
Okay,
Max knows
Katie,
what-
remember when we said if people donated $100
God, yeah, you're
to
right.
a certain fundraiser that we would try to ride a skateboard? This
Is that what we said?
We said we would ride a skateboard,
Okay, hold on.
which neither of us can do. Like we can't ride a skateboard.
I need to show you a bruise. This is a visual medium, whatever. But I need to show you a bruise that I don't even know what it's from. So I'm not going skateboard. You can go
I love
skateboarding.
that.
I'll do something else.
Okay, I will try to do a skateboard trick if someone donates $100 to Planned Parenthood and shows me that they did it, or Sara Gideon's campaign. That's fine too.
Sure. Yeah.
You gotta prove it, and I'll do a
DM
trick
us
on a
receipts,
skateboard.
and we'll get involved also. Okay.
Yeah, there's a kid down the street that's got a skateboard.
I'm not doing that. All right. So the goal is 50 volunteers doing 2-hour shifts for this week. Is that right?
It's either 50 volunteers doing 2-hour shifts or it's 50 shifts. So one volunteer doing multiple shifts. Yeah, that's the goal that each of us has this week. So that's a lot of people if you can picture that. And 2-hour shifts are pretty short. So throughout a day, you can get a lot of different shifts in. I have a shift on, I have a shift on Thursday, the 17th, called Thelonious Monk Thursday. So we're just literally going to listen to Thelonious Monk, and it's a group of musicians that I have so far. So there's any musicians out there that want to just listen to Thelonious Monk and call folks in Maine, like, come on over. We'll just listen, and it's Thelonious Monk appreciation, really.
Very nice.
Like, how many people usually do you contact in a shift, in like a 2-hour shift?
Max, you want to?
Yeah, it really varies. That's kind of the wonder and horror of phone banking is you can go and talk to like tons and tons of people. And other days it's, much slower. So I'd say the variance is very high, but I think like in a typical shift, you'll have like a really solid conversation with like 6 or 7 people is typically like my benchmark. But it really varies day to day. So I think Mary, you hopefully would corroborate that.
Yeah, exactly. We as phone bankers, on an issue-based campaign like Planned Parenthood votes, like we're not paid for by any candidate or candidate's campaign, so we're mainly focused on having really, really good conversations with folks before anything else, like really meaningful. A lot of people, there was somebody tonight that spoke about, she was somebody in her 80s, and she said, nobody's ever asked me what I thought. And that to me is like that's really important. Like it's that kind of stuff that the reason I love phone banking, it can be hard and sometimes it can be frustrating, but the one caller that's like, thank you for what you're doing, it means so much to me. That is why I love doing it. So that's what the hope is per night.
And I think also like just the nature of phone banking, because you're talking to everyone throughout the state, is you're really cutting across lines of class and geography and ideology. So like you'll have these conversations with people who you wouldn't speak to in a million years that'll stay with you for years. Like earlier, I guess last week or maybe the week before, I was speaking to this older woman who was like telling this like long story about how she had to get an abortion when she was younger. And it was just like profoundly meaningful to have this woman share like this deeply personal story and nugget of her life with me, a total stranger. So like Mary said, you're talking about to people across these deep rooted lines, which we so rarely cross nowadays. So that's also just a gift and a privilege, and it's so rewarding.
I felt that on like a lesser extent during text banking. I've lived in Illinois my whole life, but I've been text banking to like Philadelphia and Ohio, or Pennsylvania and Ohio and North Carolina, and they're all like distinct and like you said, even if you make like a connection with one person, like I I'm the person who hooked Nathan in North Carolina up with his like mail-in ballot, and like I feel good about that. That was like enough for a whole shift to be like, all right, I'll do this tomorrow.
Exactly.
Is there any kind of training associated, like before you sit down and do your phone banks? Is there training that people should do?
So we try to do 15 minutes to a half hour, depending on the volunteer.
Okay.
And of course, that's like our goal. And if they want more, we do one-on-ones with them beforehand. And if, you know, all hell breaks loose, that's also fine. Like these people are spending their time to help us, so we are there to help them. And we actually get a lot of volunteers that are like phone phobic. So a lot of the times after the training and the briefing of the campaign, we will have ourselves off mute so that they can hear our first few calls, so they know what it feels like.
That's awesome.
And that can really ease people's tension. And then it's kind of just like ripping off a Band-Aid. Your first call, it can be scary, but it's really, really rewarding once you're just like in a flow.
Yeah. So they sign up for a shift and they would get trained before their shift. Is that what you're saying? There's no like nothing to sign up for like ahead of time?
No, I mean, if they feel like they're very scared or they're very nervous to do it, we encourage a one-on-one, because that's just an easy way to not feel shame about anything you don't know, because there's a lot to know and it can be really overwhelming. But it's really exciting to just like chat with somebody on Zoom and just be like, what do you need? I'm here for you.
Yeah.
You know?
That's awesome.
Yeah. I feel like you guys are making this so easy, and it's like, everyone should do this. Everyone should do this. This is sounding actually kind of fun, but I'm also an extrovert. So like,
yeah. So where do we find the Thelonious Monk and the bingo and no, not bingo. I made bingo up.
Trivia.
Yes.
I mean, let's do bingo too.
That can't be. Yeah, we could make that happen.
Phone bank bingo is a thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is there
There are
like
also
a
phone
list?
banking drinking games.
Oh yeah.
That sounds dangerous, but but
Depends on
fun.
your perspective.
Yeah. So is there like a list of places where we can find those events and sign up? Like how could we be the most ideal volunteers for you guys?
I really appreciate a personal touch from everyone who wants to volunteer. And I would just really encourage anyone who wants to volunteer, like reach out to me directly. I can also send you guys a form, which like they can fill out and put it on the show notes maybe.
Well, then I think anybody listening to this, especially if you haven't gotten involved yet, this would be a great place to get involved. We need to flip the Senate. So if you could just go to our link tree, the very top link on our link tree, you can fill out, and that will put you in contact with Max for this week of action, and he can help you out and figure out how you specifically could get involved. But let's figure out, Morgan, what should we do? What like shift should we sign up for? What should we do?
Well, I mean, we definitely already said that we're going to phone bank.
Yes.
That is a commitment that we have made. So we're in. What else do you guys have going on? We're game. We have all the free time in the world too, because we have zero social obligations right now.
You have a full-time job. I don't know why you pretend like you're not busy.
Because I don't know how to say no to things.
Yeah. So are you asking about more phone banks opportunities, or are you asking just in general what Planned Parenthood Votes is also up to?
Yeah. What else are you up to?
So mostly we're trying to get commitments to vote for Sara Gideon. We're trying to get commitments to vote. And we're trying to get commitments to vote by mail, because that's a really safe way of voting this year. A lot of Mainers live in rural towns, so they're just like, it's safe, I'm going to go to the polls. But as long as they know how to do a mail-in ballot, that's really important to us, because some people don't know how, and some people don't even have internet access or an email address, which is normal in rural Maine, but it is helpful for them to know exactly what to do in that case. We do text banking as well. We're new to it. We're using Hustle. And is that what you use?
I've been using Text Out.
And then we also have Outvote, which is like social media relational organizing.
I've never heard of that.
So Max, do you know much about it?
Yeah, Outvote's a really interesting piece of software. The premise of Outvote is that the most effective way to canvass people are those who you already have relationships of trust and deeper ties with. So the idea of Outvote is that it syncs your phone contacts with the voter file. So you're able to identify which of your friends vote really often, which of your friends are sometimes voters, which of your friends barely vote, as well as their party registration. So you're actually able to really precisely target like who are the relationships which I need to develop, focus on the most to make sure that they vote. So it's a really robust piece of software. And if you have friends, family, coworkers, exes who live in Maine, this is a great way to make sure that they vote this November and make sure that they vote for Sara Gideon. And we have a great set of prompts as well that guide you through that relational organizing process.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. So for someone listening right now who's like, look, I want to get involved and this sounds cool, but I just like don't know that I'm super into it. What is your like pitch? Like what's your like why Sara Gideon and like why is it so important that we flip the Senate? Do you want to give like your little elevator speech in that area?
Yeah, I mean, I say it depends on the person I'm speaking with, but usually organizers will bring it to their personal story and why they are doing the work, because we're all a team. So for me personally, like I was saying earlier, electing Sara Gideon is basically protecting Planned Parenthood. I think Trump tweeted something about ending all funding for Planned Parenthood today, and he also is deciding on who to choose if he gets reelected, and that stuff scares me a lot. And I'm sure it might scare a few more people than just me, who are ready to end Roe v. Wade, and that kind of thing is not acceptable. And that kind of thing wakes myself and others up to the reality that the things that we take for granted, and I was a Planned Parenthood patient, and it was like the most beautiful place to go as a teen that couldn't talk about sex safely, other than there. And I took it for granted, and I didn't realize that there was going to be people in my life that would want to take that away from me and others. So that is what I lead with. I lead with just why it matters to me, and usually people can relate to that. Also, I've been on Medicaid most of my adulthood, and Sara is protecting Medicaid for Mainers like tenfold. So I am very also deeply connected to that. There's a lot of things I could say, but those are probably the main two.
And I would, if I may add something to that very eloquent note, Mary, I would also just add that something I think a lot about is the Martin Luther King Jr. quote that the moral arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice. And that was something which I really held close to my heart for years and years. But eventually I realized that that moral arc, that bend, it's not inevitable, and we have to build it ourselves.
Right.
And it's easy just to see like things were getting better over time. Perhaps when Obama was president, we can see how things can backslide. And I remember when I was younger, I turned down an opportunity to work on the Clinton campaign, and I lived in Michigan at the time, which was, one of the states that turned to Trump. And I didn't do anything for that election. And that was one of the smallest, margins in the country there. And if you could find 50 disaffected, white guys to go and canvass 3 weekends, in every swing state, you could probably flip some of those, just in terms of manpower. So, I mean, that's the other thing I would say is this is going to have an enormous impact on this country. It's going to be decided by the thinnest of margins. And any time you can offer is going to be incredibly impactful. And the feeling of having done something is so much better than the alternative of having done nothing and having the worst possible outcome.
Yeah, I'm sure we all remember waking up last time. And same, I didn't do anything, and I woke up and I could not believe, my dad told me it was getting late. I had to work the next day. My dad was like, go ahead, go to sleep. When you wake up, there'll be the first female president. And I was like, cool. And then I went to bed and woke up, and that was not the case. And I called in sick to work. I was devastated. So yeah, I don't think anybody wants to feel that way again. But yeah, and this is a very cool way to get involved. Is there anything that any questions that we haven't asked that you want to make sure we get across to everybody?
Well, I can say that early voting starts early for Maine. It starts beginning of October.
Okay.
So we're encouraging folks to start that process. A lot of people I've talked to that are doing mail-in ballots are excited to get their ballot in the mail soon. And that's really great because that means that those are just going to be counted and there's no fear about, anything closer to the election. Then you can just rest assured that your vote's counted and there's no fear around, anything. Then you can just be like, I'm done. I did it.
Mm-hmm.
No worries. So we're encouraging folks to vote early. And that's part of what we're asking in the phone banking is making sure they know how to do that. So that's something I could add to it.
Yeah, cool.
Next.
I think that's kind of the big stuff. No, I don't think I have anything to add. No, this was incredibly comprehensive.
Oh, well, good. Great. Okay, then can you drop the link that or in an email, that's totally fine. And then I will put that on our link tree. Is that what you were like hoping for? Did we meet expectations? Are you? Okay, good.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay,
I'm excited. Cool. I have to get my Google form up and running, and then I would also love to add that to your link tree.
For sure.
Yeah. And just to, I'm excited that you're both gonna phone bank with us.
So are we.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I'll try to see if I can get other people to do it too. I just don't know that many people.
I can. Are you on the website Instagram.com?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We've heard of it. And we're on it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'll share it on my social media and we'll see. I've
created a whole system where people can just have a set of pre-made things where they share it on social media. Perfect. And it's a malleable digital action toolkit, which I've kind of sent around to people. I can send it to you guys, and it's a really easy way to make effective posts and recruit volunteers from your network.
Oh my gosh, definitely. That sounds great.
I'll put that on our FYMI pod Instagram and my own. I mean, I have a whole 100 followers. So
you have 400. Stop it. 450. Do I? Yes. Okay. Also, I wanted to ask Mary. Mary got married this weekend, didn't you?
I did. Not this weekend. I got married a week ago today. Because we were doing a little elopement, so we decided to just do it on a weekday, and then next year we're gonna have a 1-year anniversary on a Friday, and it'll be a big party. But,
well, congratulations!
Thank you. Good work.
Yeah.
Mary, I want to let you know something. I'm not sure if Kristen told you this, but I'm the one who researched the wedding cake place for you, where the cake came from. Just so you know.
No way.
Yeah, that was my work.
Oh my God, I love that.
Not useless.
Yeah, Max, you are pretty much a rock star, and that is why I was like, Max should probably join me on this.
You're both rock stars, but I see why you wanted to recruit Max.
Yeah, of course. How could you not? This guy's a genius. I feel like the Planned Parenthood Votes team is made up of a complete array of people like me, and then people like Max, and then together our powers combined, we do really great work. So I think I needed him to just be here as the other end of the spectrum of folks that are doing this work.
No, this was the best.
Yeah. It really was. Thank you. Thank you so much, both of you.
Oh yeah. No, thank you guys. This was perfect. I'm so glad that you reached out and it worked out.
I know, me too.
All right. Then how I don't know, I guess we could just do a sign off and I'll remind people to go to our link tree. Yes? Or should we direct them to the website that you sent me via email too? Or just to simplify stuff, just say, hey, we want you to get involved this week. Go to our link tree, fill this out, and be one of the 50 volunteers.
Yeah, and you can also direct people, if you want, to the Planned Parenthood Votes website.
Okay.
Because there's lots on there. You can just it's a fun website that you can just peruse, but we're specifically working in Maine. So you can mention that if you're talking about it, but otherwise that's a helpful resource. We also say if you're in Maine, you need an absentee ballot, you can go to maine.gov, and you can also go to saragideon.com for just tons of information if you need more. I don't know if you mentioned that in your podcast on her, but
I don't know. We started doing swing states really early, probably too early. We some people didn't even have their opponent yet. I don't know. It's just, so we probably didn't. So I think it's good to mention. Thank you for joining our little mini episode, and congratulations on your week of action. We're excited to get involved. And if people want more information about Sara Gideon, they can go to saragideon.com, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then if they want more information about Planned Parenthood votes, you can go to plannedparenthoodvotes.com, and then you'll have all the info about those groups. And then we want you to head to our link tree and submit that form so you can get involved with their week of action in Maine this week. That's our challenge to you this week.
Even if it's too late and you listen to this after the week of action, you can still fill out the form tree.
Good
and
point.
I will look at it at every hour of the day, and you'll get a manic email within like 20 minutes of filling it out.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. Ditto.
Cool. All right. Well,
Oh my gosh, you guys, this is going to be so much fun.
Yeah. I hope that we funnel some people your way. I sure hope
I
so.
think you will. I think you are the best people for the job, honestly. You're so well spoken and you got me hooked. So
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, we try.
Thanks.
We're public health people, so we think about things from that end. But
yay,
Yeah.
that's great. That's what we're all about.
yeah. Okay.
Thank you both so much, Max and Mary, and everyone that's out there too doing this work. And I know it's an exhausting fight. So thank you. And to all of our listeners, I mean, thanks for listening. And also, like, get out there and do the things, please.
Yeah, and we'll be out there doing them with you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we will go ahead and let you guys go. But thank you, Max and Mary, very much. And we will talk to you. And we'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Yeah. Let me know about next week and what your availability is. I know you said you have all the free time in the world, but that's a dangerous statement when you're talking to organizers. Okay, cool. You'll work every day for me. Woo! But that's so. We'll talk about shifts and stuff.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for listening to For Your Misinformation. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast, and if you like it, give us a rating and a review. It helps us find more listeners, and the more of us there are, the better.
And make sure you're following along on Instagram and Twitter at FYMIPod.
Shout out to Kyle Dibdahl for the intro and outro music, Hope Dye for the podcast art, and Ben Schlofelt for the audio production.
We come out with new episodes every Monday.